Kane, Senator Blumenthal.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Congratulations to both of you. Mr. O'Keefe, I led the passage of a measure called the Xavier Sanders Act, which is named in honor of a young sailor from Connecticut who took his own life while serving on the USS George Washington. His ship was in maintenance. He was enduring unacceptably poor living conditions while the ship was in for repair. Too many junior enlisted service members have been forced to live aboard vessels while they're under repair without air conditioning, without meals, without rest, effectively, and with limited access to amenities and mental health support. So the Navy now has expanded authorities to provide sailors with a basic allowance for housing as a result of this act. They can live in commercial housing. They have increased access to mental health support. No service member should suffer as Xavier did. I'm still in touch with his father and his family and other service members. I'd like your commitment that you will fully support implementation of the Xavier Sanders Act.
Yes, Senator, absolutely, and it was a privilege to work on that legislation with you. I do think it's a great case study. I know your office worked with the Navy and in working with that too. It's a great case study in where the Congress and the Department of Defense and the services, when working together on a problem, can really come up with some very effective solutions. So thank you for working on that.
Thank you, and I'd like a commitment, if you're confirmed, that you will send me a report on the usage of these authorities, say by the end of the year.
Absolutely, yes, Senator.
Thank you. Mr. Obadal, I know you've served in the Army for 30 years and then left for the private sector. The company where you are now, Anduril Industries, is a major defense firm with millions of dollars of contracts with the DoD. Will you commit to sell the stock that you own in that company?
Well, Senator, I appreciate the opportunity to address that. I believe in two things, I think, that I share with members of this committee, and that's transparency and very strong ethical guidelines. And as with every potential senior government official, I've gone through an exhaustive process with the Office of Government Ethics, and they have done a thorough review and presented me with the guidelines. I will abide by all of those guidelines, and as I always have, I will abide by the law.
That a yes or a no?
Well, Senator, my restrictions and my recusals are laid out in my agreement with the OGE.
My understanding is that you're not selling the stock. Is that correct?
So that is detailed in my agreement that I will retain that.
If you're not selling the stock, doesn't that create an appearance of conflict of interest?
Well, Senator, under Section 1117 of the 22 NDAA, I am recused writ large from anything having to do personally and substantially with my former employer.
Well, I'm not asking you whether you're recused. I'm asking you about the appearance of continuing to own stock in a company that has major contracts with the DoD, where you're in charge of essentially administering the Army, and the interests of that company could be affected, whether or not you're recused from the specific approval of the contract. It still is an appearance of conflict of interest. I'm not going to debate with you, but you know, in this administration, it may seem minor as a conflict of interest, given that the President of the United States is selling crypto and inviting people to the White House who buy his meme coin and making hundreds of millions of dollars from transactions in that coin. I think he has lowered the bar irretrievably, but it still is really regrettable. Let me go on to another topic. I understand that there may be a parade on June 14th to celebrate the President's birthday. Do you support that use of 30, 50, perhaps $60 million for a parade to celebrate the president's birthday?
Well, Senator, I can only comment on what I've seen. I do not understand, I don't know the costs of a parade. What I do know is that the Army is celebrating its 250th birthday on June 14th with a parade that will showcase soldiers and provide a level
What
of
amount
access.
of expenditure would be appropriate in your view?
Well, Senator, I can't comment on that because I'm not in the department, and I can't make an assessment on the effects and
Let
the
me ask you
access that the public will-
hypothetically, wouldn't it be a better use of Army funds for training, for care of the troops, for housing, not to mention thousands of veterans who have been fired from the VA, supposedly to save money? Wouldn't those be better uses of that money?
Well, Senator, I'm not going to engage in the hypothetical. What I will say is that the military, the DoD writ large, does a number of things like this to increase awareness and to use as a recruiting and appreciation tool for the citizens of the United States.
I'm
So
not
air
against
shows and
celebrating
parades.
the Army's birthday. What I would ask you to oppose is the use of anywhere from $40 to $50 million, as has been publicly reported. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.